54 of the Relatable Runners podcast. Today's podcast is I'll get gas in the morning, which we know never happens.
Or if it does happen, it's only because there was no other option.
Right.
Yep.
So we're going to just talk about procrastination, why we do it, how we can avoid it, how we can overcome it, just all things procrastination, which I need to listen to this episode myself because I am a very
I'm sure we all struggle with procrastinating something at some point
to some
in time.
extent.
So
right.
This is a good refresher for all of us.
Yes.
And also, as a refresher, last episode was episode 53, and it was about how to stay organized in your workout life and just in life in general.
Mm-hmm.
And we discussed the Ohio rule, which, Amber, do you remember what it means?
I do. Only handle it once.
I love that.
I have thought about that a few times, even from our last recording, to be like, I was like, oh, in my head, thinking I'll do it later. And I was like, no, only handle it once. Let's just do it.
Just get it done
Do it
with.
right now.
Right, yes, absolutely. It sticks in my mind. Whitney didn't remember it, so maybe she will remember it, though, after this. But we also asked y'all for tips and tricks that y'all do to stay organized. And, of course, y'all showed up and showed out with your responses. Some of them are quite comical. Haley, Whitney's sister, actually said, make sure you buy a planner and then never use it.
She does. She'll buy a new planner every year, gets real fired up about it, and then does not open that thing until the next year. And she's always like, okay, when I buy a planner, I'm going to do it. And then she literally doesn't open it. I'm like, okay, I don't know how you keep all those things in your head, but if that's what you want to do,
Maybe 20
She has the planner just in case she decides she wants to write it
right.
down.
She does forget things a lot.
I see. 2022 is going to be her year, though.
Yeah.
Next
Double
year,
booking.
she's going to use that planner.
Mm-hmm.
Someone did say, going along planners, write things down. Do not rely on your memory.
Yes, I agree with that 100%.
Yes.
Do as much prep work as you possibly can the night before.
Yes.
Whitney said, Google how to be organized.
Maybe mocking you. I don't know.
I don't know. That is what I did for the podcast. Someone else said, there are no rules. True. That is very true. The rule is there are no rules. Also, being cute or having like a cute planner or cute totes and stuff to like help just keep your life organized.
Uh-huh.
I know that gets me going.
Yes.
So maybe spend a little bit more money. Take the time to just make it cute because you'll want to do it more that way.
Yes. I love getting my good planner. For Christmas, I get it to myself. I will wrap it to it from it. I'll put it under the tree, and it's a little more expensive than normal planners, but I've used it for like 6 years, and I always look forward to it, and I love it, and I know that I will use it to its maximum.
So it's definitely worth the little bit of extra money to have what you love.
Yes.
Someone else said use a Google Calendar, put everything in it, and also know your spouse's calendar so you can always coordinate, especially if there's kids. That'll really throw you off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whew.
Yeah, Jason is always like, did you look at my Outlook calendar? I'm like, oh, I can't look at your Outlook calendar.
No, I did not look at
But
that.
it would be good if I had access to that.
Yeah.
Well, here's your chance.
Add yourself in there.
Add yourself in there.
I'll have to figure out how to do that.
Yeah. And also, I really like this one. This is the last one I'll mention. It was name everything with the date. And I know I get stuck in that a lot too. So what that basically means, like, for what I do, like, if I did a quick little design board, and then I go back and I redo it when I have more time.
Yes.
If I don't date which one, I'm like, which one, or, if I hand it off to someone, they don't know which one's the more relevant one. So dating it.
Save it with the date.
Save it with the date. It was updated.
That's a good tip.
Yeah, I thought that was really good.
I like that. And whenever we were kind of talking about this episode and talking about Ohio, only handling it once, one random example came into my head, and this is literally from probably, 12 years ago when I was a server. Our manager, who was just phenomenal in the restaurant industry, like knew everything, she always said, full hands in, full hands out. And what that meant was if we were like going into the kitchen, we needed to have full hands, meaning we needed to have dishes off of a table in our hands going in, and then we needed to have full hands going out, meaning we needed to grab something for somebody, grab plates, instead of saying, oh, I'll come back to that, oh, let me run and get this. If you always have full hands in and full hands out, and you can kind of use that in life too, instead of, she said, only touch it once. That's kind of what she said, only touch it once.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about it and then you touch it and then you put it down, then you move it somewhere else, pick it up, put it where it needs to go, be done with it, and don't spend more time on it, touching it more than one time. If you pick it up one time, put it in the place it needs to go, or do the thing that needs to be done the first time, and you'll end up, saving a lot of time and mental space because you don't have to remember where you left off.
Because you finished, the task is done.
Exactly.
And all of that just really ties back into I'll get gas in the morning, which is a metaphor kind of for just do it now. Only handle it once. Don't think about getting gas and then pass the gas station and then let something crazy happen in the morning.
It always will.
Yes. A kid gets sick or, just something will happen. There'll be crazy traffic. And getting gas in the morning won't be as easy as you thought it would be.
And I always feel like I, just for some reason, without changing anything in my plan or my schedule, just assume I'm going to be ready 10 minutes early. Why do I assume that? Because I'm doing nothing to make it work out that way.
Seems to be that way in all of your planning.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Yep.
So I used to do that all the time when I worked at, when I had quite the long commute, and I'd always, I'd get home sometimes really late, and I'd been in the car forever, and sometimes just stopping at the gas station, like, I do not want to stop anywhere
it's like,
else.
That's the last thing I want to do
I'll
now.
do it in the morning, and there were several times where I did that, and I learned my lesson. I had a meeting to get to, and then, of course, there's traffic wrapped around the gas station.
Yep.
Then my gas light's on while I'm on the interstate, and I'm, like, panicking that I'm going to run out of gas, and it's just
and then you're anxious, like, the whole entire drive.
Yes.
You're either going to be late or you're going to run out of gas. One of those two options.
Probably
or
both.
both. Yes.
So I did that a few times, and then I won't say that I never did it again, but it was always a reminder every time I did it. Okay, Thursday night Whitney has got to make Friday morning Whitney proud, because Friday morning Whitney has had enough of this last minute nonsense.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
I get it. So why do we procrastinate? I mean,
it's because I don't want to do
it's
it.
human nature, I think. But
Some examples.
Some examples are our goals are too abstract. Our rewards are too far in the future.
What do you mean abstract? Like too far-fetched?
Right, so my goal might be I want to live a healthier lifestyle.
And that's very vague.
Very
not
vague.
specific.
Abstract, vague.
Yeah.
It all really goes back to SMART goals.
Mm-hmm.
Really. So you'll hear a few more here. Like I said, the rewards are too far in the future, so timely,
Mm-hmm.
You have demotivating factors, which would be like a fear of failure or anxiety about completing the task.
That's a big one, I think, for procrastination. You don't want to do something if you are nervous about the outcome, or it's not something that you're comfortable doing, so you just put it off and say, I'll do it later, which is in turn, going to make it harder for you to...
Which ties into perfectionism, because you don't want to do it because you don't think you're going to be able to do it well enough or to the level that you want to be able to do it at, so you just don't do it at all.
I used to struggle with that very much.
I can see that in you.
More than I do now, but it used to be
you're
paralyzing almost.
Right.
I want it to be perfect, and then if I can't do perfect, I'm just not going to do it, and then I'm not even doing anything because... So, is it better to try something and figure it out, maybe make a mistake and learn from it, or not do anything at all because you're paralyzed with perfectionism fear?
Yes,
exactly.
exactly.
I heard something, similar to this, but kind of in a not similar way. So with pictures, I know Amber can definitely get caught up into it, and I could too at one point. I think we've all gotten way better, but that picture's not, I don't like that angle. I don't, you don't want to post the picture. And I read some article. It was about from the viewpoint of a mom. And they're I didn't ever want to take the picture with my kids or be posted in my swimsuit at the beach. But then your kids look back at their memories and there's no pictures of mom because mom didn't want to be in the pictures. And that is you don't have to be, just be present. You don't have to be perfect. You have to start somewhere, and you have we're never going to be perfect.
No. And your kids aren't going to look back at those pictures and be like, oh my gosh, mom had spinach in her teeth. Or, oh my gosh, mom looks like a fat cow. They're going to be like, oh mom, that was so fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what they're going to remember.
Yes. Exactly. That brings me back to another point. We really need to do that kid episode. They are.
Yes.
So y'all stay tuned. We got
a lot of kids to wrangle, but we'll figure that out.
We'll figure it out. All right, a couple more is optimism or pessimism about the future. So you are just overly optimistic, so you don't think you really have to worry about it. It'll all just work itself out.
That's probably what I struggle with.
Yeah.
Or overly pessimistic, where you're it's gonna be crappy no matter what I try and do. So why should I even try to make it happen or whatever? And then I think a lot of us, me included, this one's a big one for me, is indecisiveness.
Yeah.
I don't know, should I do this or should I do that? And then I just get stuck in that and don't
Analysis
ever end up...
paralysis.
Yes, exactly.
Decision fatigue.
Mm-hmm. These all sound like familiar terms. That's a very good point. And that's definitely a huge factor, I think, in procrastination. So how do we overcome and avoid it?
Funny you should ask. I've jotted down a few ideas I have, all out of my head, of course. No Googling at all. So,
No Googling.
some ways to avoid. Get organized, like we talked about last time.
Yes, so
Please.
important.
Yes. Please revert back to episode 53.
Yes. Set simple, achievable goals. Once again, kind of back to the SMART goals. Like, set a small little goal that you can attain with that day or even that hour. Because the more goals that you hit, the more excited and the more self-esteem you'll have about being able to hit the next goal.
Right.
Create a timeline or a schedule.
One of my favorites.
Now, I really like having a timeline and a schedule. Well, I used to be, back when I would plan out my outfits for the day.
Ooh, yes.
Like, I remember so Whitney and I were lifeguards in a prior life to this, and we had this one,
When we were baby children.
We had this one lifeguard, and he just thought it was hysterical. Like, he for sure thought we, scheduled in our peeing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, bathroom break here, and we're going to do this. It was ridiculous.
We decorated our planners, and we would
Highlighted, color-coded. I have overcome this. Whitney still
going strong.
Sometimes
Still
I
going
wonder
strong.
if Nikki makes a timeline so that she can switch it on us.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the
1
only
o'clock.
reason
Oh,
she would
just
ever make
kidding.
it.
1:30.
1:30. You thought I was gonna be on time. No.
But at least she tries, right?
At least I try.
Yeah.
And kind of going with that, set a deadline, or this is kind of the fun one, like actually time yourself.
Yes.
Our children do things better when we time them. Let's see how fast you can clean your room. Let's see how fast you can unload the dishwasher. Well, mom can be timed unloading the dishwasher as well, or
Yes.
whatever other tasks you need to get
I
done.
literally will do that. Like if I have a little task, I need to do a little turbo clean of the house, or I need to unload the dishwasher and put this up, and it's going to make the whole, the kitchen will be clean. I'll feel so much better. I will literally set timers on my watch and knock it out, because you can think about something for far longer. Like I could think about, man, I wish the kitchen was clean. It's messy in here. I need to do the dishes.
I don't really want to get
I don't wanna do
up.
that.
I want to do this.
I could think about that for 20 minutes, and then I could literally accomplish the task in 10 minutes if I
Yep.
just set a timer and did it. And I have to do that a lot with myself.
And you'll find, even if, let's say, 10 minutes is up and you didn't finish your task, but you're almost done, you're not going to just throw in the towel.
Right. You
Like,
start
you're
the
gonna
timer
finish
over
it.
and you keep
You're
going.
going to finish it.
Yes. And then get rid of distractions. So, if you have the TV on or your phone in your hand,
Your phone.
hide it, lock it away. Be like, okay, I'm not going to get on my phone for the next half an hour. I'm going to see how much I can get done.
Yes.
Just turn the TV off, turn the phone off.
BY does that to me. If he listens to this, he will hear it. Like when I'm doing a task, putting up laundry or doing anything like that, and I'm setting a timer, then I get on my phone. He's like, how are those dishes going? I'm like, oh, God. He's like, if you're, we hold each other accountable for that. If the timer is set, don't do anything else except for the task at hand
right.
with your timer, and do all of that. Don't, because, you could be sucked into your phone for 15 minutes, and you've literally done nothing.
Right.
And
Productive
it's
at
a
all.
huge distraction.
I remember when I was little and my dad would be like, you cannot watch TV and do your homework. And I was like, that is so silly. I can totally do that. But now that I'm older and I have kids, I tell them the exact same thing. Because
you can't.
You can't. No.
Yeah.
So, Dad, I'm not saying you were right, but you might have been onto something.
Yeah.
You weren't totally wrong, at least.
Right.
All right. Take a little break if you need to. If you're trying to complete a task and you're just not getting anywhere on it, clear your brain. Take a little walk. Just get away from it for a little bit and then come back fresh. I feel like a lot of times, getting bogged down in work stuff, or if it's a lot of paperwork and you can't think about something else, and it's all you can think about is I don't want to do this anymore.
You'll just hit a wall at some point.
Just get up, take a break, do something else, and come back to it more excited, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Give yourself small incentives.
Yes.
Okay, if I get this done, then I can have a cupcake, or if I
Y'all
get this done, I'll whatever.
Y'all know what I do every morning. Do you know it?
You can't have your cup of coffee until you do something else.
Till I drink my water.
Drink your water.
I have
Okay.
to drink
yeah.
a full cup of water or bottle of water, at least 8 ounces, before I can have my coffee. And I love my morning coffee. But I tell myself, that
That's
way
good.
I have water down before I put coffee into my body. And so I do that every
I
day.
need
And I'll
to-
literally tell
I'm gonna
myself,
try that.
sometimes I reach for my coffee, I'm like, no, you haven't had your water yet. Drink my water. All right, it's coffee time.
There you go.
So just use little incentives. Doesn't have to be anything crazy.
Right.
Just something to keep you motivated or keep you on track.
Yep.
Whatever works for you is what you need to do. So
All right. Tell someone about your goal or task. This one is great because you can have somebody hold you accountable, and we are pretty good about doing this. Like, I want to get 2 runs in,
Yes.
or
We always, it does help to hold each other accountable. And I actually heard this. I just thought about this. Yesterday, I was listening to a Ed Milet podcast, and he was talking about, he was interviewing this guy who was like a weight loss coach for people, and he helped them lose, hundreds of pounds, and they had gone through this whole process, and they were talking about like after he was done with them, when they were not in his care, like under his supervision,
right?
How they would gain weight again and things like that. And he said a lot of them could pinpoint down to one promise that they didn't keep to themselves. Like this guy had been off Coke and Diet Coke for like 2 years because that was a huge issue with his weight gain, because he had like excessive amounts of sugary beverages every day. And then he tracked it back down to one time where he was at a Coke machine, and instead of getting water, he got Coke, and he was like,
it was all downhill from there.
And he didn't tell anyone about that. So, if you tell someone about I'm starting my diet on Monday, or I'm doing this at this time, and then you break that promise, someone's going to follow up with you, and you're going to have accountability. But
you're going to be accountable for that mistake
if you don't tell anyone, it's easy to, you are going to know that you didn't do it, but no one else will. And then it's easy to get into that cycle of breaking promises to yourself, because you don't always have to hold yourself accountable.
Right.
You can kind of hide behind that.
And there, of course, I'm going to tie this back to the Bible real quick. So it says, sin is like, it's always, you struggle with it the first time, but it's easier. It gets easier and easier and easier until you finally,
once you tell a lie and you get away with it, you're like, well, I can lie again.
I can do it again. And it becomes easier, and your conscience starts getting pushed down. And that's also why it says to confess your burdens one to another, because if you're carrying that yourself, no one knows, no one's going to hold you accountable. But if you're telling whoever, now you have some accountability.
Yeah, exactly.
And that can be rolled into exercise, working out, like
life,
everything,
just
life
in general. But definitely with exercise, we use that, and we'll use it with our eating or our goals or whatever. It's great to have accountability partners. So if you don't have one, find one. We can hold you accountable, but accountability is a game changer for sure.
All right, and this one is probably one of my favorites. Is get the hardest thing done first.
Yeah,
it's so simple, but I feel like we always naturally want to push it off till the end, whatever's the hardest. If it's work or the workout, or
then you're dreading it. You spend that much more time dreading it.
Yes, you're wasting all this like thought and anxiety over something you could have just got out of the way first.
Yeah,
and then when that's done, everything else seems easier.
Seems so easy,
right? So get that done first.
That's a good one. That reminds me of a quote. I used to have this on my desk. I'm getting a lot of throwback reminders.
Yeah.
I used to have this on my desk, and actually when I left my last job, I passed it down to my friend Kelsey, who took my position. She still has it on her desk. It's a quote printed out that says, "Worrying does not empty tomorrow of its troubles. It empties today of its strength."
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. So if you're always worrying about the future, or always thinking about something that you need to do, you're taken away from the time that you have right now and the moment that you're in, and all the things that you could be accomplishing, and things that you could be doing, because you're literally using your mental and sometimes physical strength.
There's only so much room up there.
Right.
And if you're worried about stuff that might possibly happen in the future,
what are you doing today?
What are you taking care of right now?
Right, exactly.
What are you leaving on the table that you could be getting done?
Exactly.
I mean, all right. So how does this all tie back into, like our very favorite topic of running, fitness in general, but mostly running, since we are the relatable runners,
Indeed. Yes, indeed.
Oh, so one way would be to focus on your why. Like, why did you start running? Why do you enjoy it? Are you trying to hit a goal? Are you trying to complete your first marathon? Whatever it is, like, remember your why. Why did you start in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
So if you remember your why, it can help you like jumpstart whatever you're trying to procrastinate over.
And what were you saying earlier? It's not like the destination or the final goal. It's kind of like what you do along the way to get there.
Steps that you take to get there.
So if you remember your why, that'll help you continue to take those steps and not procrastinate, because if you're training for a marathon, you can't procrastinate and start doing your long runs right before. Like, you have to kind of stay on track throughout the whole entire time in order to accomplish that big goal overall. Another way to overcome procrastination, specifically in running, is get rid of catastrophizing and not anticipating the worst. Well, I can't run because my knees will hurt, or there's no way I could ever run a marathon because I can barely run 5 miles right now. If you're always thinking of the worst case scenario, or something that is scary or overwhelming, that is going to in turn make you less likely to act upon that action.
If you do act upon that action, but you're worried about the worst the whole time, like you're gonna find what you look for. Like your knees probably will hurt because you're gonna think your knees are hurting. You're gonna make it up. I'm a little bit of a tough lover, but like no excuses. Like hush your mouth and go run. Like no more excuses.
Yeah, and we've said this before. Like we always say. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right.
You are right.
So if you're worried about stuff and you're catastrophizing or visualizing the worst case scenario.
You just wanted to say that word again, didn't you?
I just want to say catastrophizing because I know how to say that word, and it's a really good word.
It's going to happen.
Your body is going to fall suit with that. Like
right.
You're going to, be less energetic or be more prone to get hurt because that's all you're thinking about.
Yep.
So don't do that. Think about what you can do to make for the best outcome. And that's all that you should focus on. And that's going to help procrastination and also help, your outcome because you're not going to be worried about all the things that could go wrong.
But also on the flip side of that is another one of these. Also be realistic.
Yeah.
Because you can't, wake up on Friday and say, I'm going to run a half marathon tomorrow if you haven't ran any long runs in the last month or two, or, if you've done nothing to prepare for it, then
your results are probably not going to be good, and you do have more risk of getting hurt or not having a good time because you haven't prepared. So it all comes down to being organized and being prepared, and also setting realistic goals that you can obtain.
So you won't procrastinate because the goal wouldn't be too crazy because you're being realistic about your goals.
Because you are breaking it down into smaller bites.
That would be calling chunk it
up. It sounds kind of gross.
Yeah, it sounds gross.
I don't like that.
But break it down into smaller little tasks to make them more attainable.
Mm-hmm. Bite off only what you can chew.
Exactly.
Instead of trying to do everything at once.
Oh my goodness, I have the best way to wrap this up. So basically, you have your big running goal. But we all know your year is going to pass. Your 16 weeks it takes you to train for a marathon is going to pass. And how you spend that 16 weeks, either by the end of it, you're going to be a marathoner or you're not. And
so it's up to you. Yeah.
So as Whitney would say, get out that planner.
Yes, girl.
Use it and set up your future self for success.
Yes. And like we do with our workouts each week, we have to kind of game plan. When do we need to strength train? When are we long running? Which we kind of know, we kind of have a flow, but we also plug things in around other things that we have on the schedule and set ourselves up for success. We're not doing a heavy leg day on Wednesday night and then doing a speed work run the next morning super early. Like, obviously that's not going to go well because you haven't planned it out accordingly.
Right. And if you had that in your planner, you'd look at it and say, oh no, that don't line up well.
We need to switch this up a little bit to set yourself up for success, because that's going to give you, confidence. Whenever you do stuff that you do well and you feel good doing it, then you're going to want to be able to do it more. If you're always, setting yourself up for failure, like not getting gas and not planning your workouts accordingly, it's not going to go well. And then
so it's almost like rewarding good behavior in itself, because you're doing the things right, so it's working out better.
Yeah.
Life is going a little easier. But you can also reward yourself, with some new running clothes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Recommended.
Yeah, for sure. So if Brooks would like to sponsor us and send us some shoes, we'll talk about them, and then y'all can go reward yourself with a new pair of shoes.
Sounds like a great plan.
Long run recap. This week's long run was once again a little off kilter for us. Mm-hmm. We are dying to get back on a normal weekly long run schedule.
I think Nikki will be back with us, in 2 weeks?
April 15th is when I will resume my health.
It was quite exciting.
Yes, it is very exciting. I'm very excited about it.
I think that, Whitney, you did a short run this weekend by yourself?
I ran 3 miles.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to call it short, but...
Yes, compared to our normal weekend...
Comparatively.
Runs, yes. But I did 3 miles. I had not run for 5 days in a row after our half marathon.
Mm-hmm.
The cave one, which apparently did a toll on us.
Yes.
And then just been running around. And when you're mental, your body cannot tell the difference, like I've said before. in your exhaustion, whether it's mental or physical, and so it like all kind of plays into each other. And so I hadn't done very much, and I ran 3 miles, and I literally like got out there and I was like, how do I do this? It felt weird at
Can I
first.
still
Even
run?
after like a few days, it was funny, but I did it. I, did it pretty quickly. It was fine.
Yeah.
Felt challenging and awkward at first, but then after just a couple minutes, I was like,
Get
yes.
right in that flow.
Oh, yes. And we have a half marathon coming up this weekend. So it's kind of good to take it a little easy on the running.
For sure.
Because that one will be another
doozy,
quite
if you will.
intense one.
And I was out of town this weekend, so did not run at all. But I did run 5 miles again this morning with Aaron.
Good.
And
Very nice.
it is currently, as we're recording this, April Fool's Day. And we said that the good Lord had said, April Fools, you thought it was spring, but it is currently like 35 degrees outside.
Freeze warning last night, right?
Yes, it felt like 31. So I had to dig out the gloves and the headpiece and vest and all of the things and froze my tushy off. But it was a good 5 miles.
Got it done. Good.
Did it? Yep.
I will do, I'm running with Betsy this afternoon, so we'll either run 6 or 7, so that'll be a good little longer run. And then we've got Oak Barrel this upcoming weekend, so excited. Amber has decided, after just roughly 2 years of me peer pressuring her to join me, and Aaron, so I'm very excited, and I believe Nikki will probably be there with posters to cheer us on. I'd say.
Probably,
For
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Definitely.
We'll
for
look for you.
sure. So we'll probably we might be able to do a full episode recap on that for your first experience. So
maybe I will go to it, and then I can have a different viewpoint.
There you go.
Spectator.
you should.
And I feel like there will
There's
be
a lot of friends
of
there.
friends of the podcast there.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. So maybe we can actually, get like a few minutes of them
Yeah.
and how they felt about it.
Yeah. And see some familiar faces. So
Yep.
it's going to be fun. We're excited.